I got fired from a Walgreens I never worked at. In fact, I have never worked at any Walgreens. So this was some 10 years ago, and while the conversation is paraphrased, I remember it like it was yesterday. So, background. At the time I was working grave and swing as a casino players host in Reno, Nevada. For those who don't know what this job is, we take care of the high rollers. Make sure they get comps, dining and hotel reservations, get invites to tournaments, limo rides, you name it. I wore a nice black blazer with a name tag, slacks, comfortable but professional shoes, hair and makeup done. The days I worked swing I was off at 3 a.m., but after waiting for bus and the ride home I would make it to my place at about 5 a.m. Directly across the street from my home was a Walgreens. I stopped in a lot of mornings to grab a protein shake, pick up prescriptions, etc. But on Wednesday mornings they put out a lot of clearance items. You could snag small appliances dirt cheap. So I was always there on Wednesdays stocking up on Christmas and birthday presents, etc. The employees and manager knew me by sight and some by name. I was usually a zombie after work, I think, like most people, lol. And this Wednesday was no different. I was looking over the latest selection, trying to decide if I needed a new coffee maker or just wanted one because it was clearanced for like $5. A woman was next to me, speaking Tagalog into her phone. I don't speak it, but Reno has a pretty large Filipino community, so I could at least recognize it. Her language is not important to the story. It just struck me how odd the little things we remember are. She finished her conversation and looked at me. Can I get a discount on this? I don't remember what this was. Some small appliance. The box is smashed up. No idea, I told her. But I would ask to plug it in to test it before I bought it if the box is damaged. I have no idea if anyone can actually do that, but it seemed reasonable to me. Why would you sell something that doesn't work? She demanded. I had no idea at this point she thought I worked there. I thought she was making conversation. In my defense, I was half asleep and just wanted a good deal on a damned stick blender. Oh, I told her, I absolutely wouldn't sell it. But I'm not in the business of selling things anyway. Oh, so you are too good and important to sell things, that is just for the low employees? I finally looked at her. Until then, I was pretty focused on staying awake. I could see she was getting angry. It dawned on me that I still had my name tag on. I slipped it off. They are the kinds with magnets, not pins, and stuck it in my pocket. Oh, sorry, I forgot to take this off, I don't actually. I started to say I don't work here. But she was having none of that. Oh, you think you are too good to help me? Just because I am Filipina? She may have said Filipino, I confess I don't know which is correct and going only off memory. My money is good, you. She said something in Tagalog that did not sound flattering. You think you can trick me taking off your name tag? I just sighed. I don't want your money. I don't work here. I am shopping. Please leave me alone. She ignored everything I just said except for, oh, you won't be getting my money because you need to give me this free for not helping me. Ma'am, I tried to reason with her. I can't give you that. I really don't work here. If you take it without paying, that is stealing. Oh, now you think I am poor and a thief? WTF? Where did poor come from? I want to talk to the manager of the whole store. Lady, I turned back to the shelf. I wish you would fucking talk to anyone but me. I didn't swear because I was angry. I just have a potty mouth. She stomped off her heels making little tick 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 sounds on the linoleum. I decided I did need another coffee maker. And that stick blender. As I was putting both in my cart I hear tick 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 tick. Great, she's back. But she is not alone. Tom, the store manager, was with her. There she is, the woman shrieked. She called me a poor thief and said a swear at me. I want you to fire her and make her poor. Weird obsession with poverty. Tom looked at me confused. What is happening? I grinned and held up my coffee maker. Shopping. Tom was even more confused. But why are you insulting her and swearing? She thinks I work here and wanted me to let her steal an appliance. Okay, I know a bit of an exaggeration, but she started it. This was the moment that her medication stopped working. In a very loud mix of English and Tagalog she shrieked out our entire interaction. Surprisingly she told it correctly too. Except that I didn't put my name tag away to trick her. Tom was done at this point. He just looked at me and said, "You're fired." The woman grinned maliciously at me, grabbed her smashed-up box and stormed off with Tom as I shrugged and made my way over to the allergy medication. Or some other area of the store. I don't 100% remember, but I have terrible allergies, so that seems likely. At the register, Tom asked me what really happened. I told him everything, including how I told her I wished she'd fucking talk to anyone but me. Tom laughed and told me I was still fired. Yay! I grinned. "Do I get a severance package?" Tom laughed harder. "To be fair, you did swear at her. Plus, you don't actually work here, so, no severance package. That's it. I shopped there for many years before I moved. I never saw her again, so I am sure she went on content with getting me fired and making me poor."
I was dressed inappropriately for a job I don't have. Last weekend it was very warm for this part of the country. I was wearing a tank top and some jean shorts, so I had a lot of skin showing. Nothing indecent though, just bare arms and legs, and I might have had some cleavage showing. My husband and I were going to have a barbecue for some friends of his, so I went down to the grocery store to pick up a few final items. While I'm looking at the beans trying to decide how much we need, I feel a tap on my shoulder. I turn around to come face to face with an older lady who was definitely overdressed for the weather. I ask politely, "May I help you?" And she replies, "Don't you think you're dressed appropriately for this job?" I was confused and so replied, "Well, yes, but I'm not at my job right now. I work in a hospital as a lab technician." She scoffed and said, "Well, we'll see what Dave has to say about this." Dave is apparently the manager and a friend of hers, so she races off to find him, and I'm just looking at beans, still trying to figure out how much we need. Just as I put a couple cans into my basket, the lady comes down the aisle, with who I assume is Dave, wearing a manager-type apron. She's pointing at me and saying, "Do you let your employees wear things like that? It's shameful." Dave looks at me, starts to look at me like he knows me, then shakes his head and tells the lady, "She doesn't work here." The lady looks at me and tells Dave, "Of course she works here. I've seen her stocking shelves and working at the register. It's absolutely shameful that you allow her to wear that on the floor." Dave looks at me, then as if a light bulb went off in his head, takes his walkie-talkie and calls for someone named Linda to report to whatever aisle we were on. The lady is still berating him for what I'm wearing again, nothing wrong with it, just showing a lot of skin for it being such a hot day. When Linda comes into the aisle, I was shocked. She looked exactly like me when I was back in high school. It was like looking 10 years back in time, and I'm sure for her she got a glimpse of what she would look like 10 years from now. Linda walks up to us asking what's up, and the lady quietly says, "My mistake," and starts to walk back down the aisle, but she has to get a last jab in, so she turns around and tells me, "Do you actually go in public like that? That's just wrong. Tempting men with your nearly naked body." I'm married, by the way. The only man I have to tempt is my husband, and that's not hard to do. Dave had me and Linda pose together for a picture. He was also astonished at how close we looked to each other.